most typical real estate transactions, that's what people know or think, right? They got to call their realtor or got to call their mortgage broker. I think that's why there's a bias towards you'll get a new loan to pay off the old loan. But if you open your mind to these ways of thinking, it's easier to structure win-win deals
Yeah.
where it makes sense for the seller and the buyer.
So just talking about seller finance, which we're kind of focusing on today, is I want to lean into what you said. You're exactly right of being the bank, right? So what I'm thinking of a question people ask me all the time. So why would the sellers want to be the bank? What's advantageous for them? And you guys keep in mind, banks do this all the time. We figured out how to do that. So if you've ever gotten a loan with like Wells Fargo, Chase, Rocket Mortgage, and then you get a letter in the mail 2 months later and says, now you're paying this person, it's exactly what they're doing, is selling the notes and doing things of that sort. So just so we understand, why is it advantageous? What is a note, right?
When you own a note, it's an
Yeah.
asset when you're the
Yes.
owner, when you
Yeah.
own the right to get paid.
You're exactly right. So that is what's advantageous to the sellers. So when they say, when I'm the bank, how does that work? You're going to add a note. Sometimes it'll be called a mortgage. Sometimes it's a deed of trust, right? It's different in all 50 states. And what happens is they become the bank and they say, this buyer has agreed to pay me this amount over these terms. Now, what happens if the buyer doesn't pay over those terms? Once again, it's advantageous for the seller because they will operate just like a bank does. They can go and foreclose on that buyer and be able to get that asset back, right? And so there's a lot of different things for sellers of why it's advantageous. And then what Riley said was so important. You have a lot of tired landlords out there that don't want to do the maintenance anymore, that own multiple properties. And you'd say, listen, based upon the numbers, we can still give you some cash flow, but we'll take that responsibility of you not having to be that landlord where you can still make some money, but we'll own the property. So there's a lot of reasons why it would interest a lot of different people. And then we could even go down the route of like capital gains, right? So if they're getting that $100, $200, $300,000 and giving that amount away to the government, the thing about it is we get to save them that money by giving them what they need and then paying them what they want over the course of 30 years. And even if it has a balloon payment in it, right? So there's a lot of, I would say, pros on both sides. Like you said, it is a win-win. It's just educating yourself a little bit more about what terms are.